Last section, we introduced the cross product, and we showed what the definition was and what each term or each component of the resulting vector would be. But it can be kind of difficult to keep up with, so what we would like to do is find a shorthand way, a way that's easier to remember in your mind how to compute the cross product. Now, for those of you who are familiar with linear algebra, there's a way to do this using determinants. And what we're doing is kind of it has a strong relationship with how determinants work. But for those of you who aren't familiar with linear algebra, this is kind of a way that works for everybody. Anyway, so if we're given two vectors, u and v, that have components u1 through u3 and v1 through v3, and we want to compute u cross v, what we do is we construct this little figure. So we have I, j, and k, and then we have an additional I and j where we repeat those. So if you think of these as columns, we have two repeated columns. Now what we're going to do is we're going to follow the diagonals of these columns. We're going to follow these diagonals. And we're going to follow the following pattern, that if the diagonal starts left and ends right, we're going to multiply across the diagonal and we're going to add those terms. If it goes right to left, we're going to multiply across the diagonal, but we're going to subtract the result rather than add it. So you can think of it as plus or minus based on what you got here. So in the case, let's go left to right. So in this particular case, I've got u2, u3, I, and then I've got u3, v1, u3, v1, j, and then I've got u1, v2, k. So then that sums up the left to right diagonals. Let's do the right to left diagonals. So notice we can't start with j here because we don't have 3. So we have to start with this k one. So I have v1, u2, k, but it's a negative. And then I have v2, u3, I, but it's a negative. And then I have u1, v3, j, but it's a negative. So if I add these together and combine like terms, I get u2, u3 minus v2, u3, I. Now, I'm going to do a little trick here. If you remember from the previous section, this section starts off with a minus. So I'm actually going to do u1, v3 minus, because the double minus is a plus, u3, v1, j, plus u1, v2 minus v1, u2, k. And you'll notice that this matches our previous formulation. But we can use this little shorthand. You can construct this diagram and just multiply across, and it'll help keep you on track. And in a practical sense, you won't need to set it up like this. You can just straight add for the j because we'll be dealing with numbers. So it doesn't, keeping track of that minus is kind of impractical. That's how we do it.